In a world where you can book anything with a few simple clicks, one man learned the hard way that not everything online is real. For those who don't know, Airbnb isn't the only platform out there for renting rooms or houses. There are plenty of similar websites and apps that do the same thing. Some of them are well known, while others are not so much. He didn't want to travel far, but he did want somewhere quiet and secluded. Somewhere he could have some peace and quiet and just relax. First, the owner didn't reply to any of his messages. Second, the address he got was in the middle of nowhere. Confused, Sam explained that he couldn't get in because the door was locked. When he checked his email, he saw that the owner had sent him a message saying that it would take a few days for the refund to process. But it had been over a week, so Sam decided to follow up. But when he clicked on the owner's profile, he noticed something odd. The account had been deleted. With the power off, the darkness was thick and heavy, and every creak and moan of the house sounded like a footstep. As the night wore on, Sam grew more and more scared. He paced from room to room, but it was no use. He couldn't escape the feeling that he was being watched. He tried the doorknob, but it was locked. Was the woman still inside? Had she been there the whole time? Shaking hands, they dialed 911 and waited for the police to arrive. When they finally opened the door, they found the house empty. The woman was gone, and so was the owner. But they did find something strange. On the table was a notebook with the name Isabella written on it. And inside the notebook, they found a message from the owner explaining that he had to go away on urgent business and that he would be back soon. He also mentioned that his wife, Isabella, would be staying in the house while he was gone and asked him not to disturb her. But there was no mention of when he would be back, so Sam and his friend decided to wait. He tried to tell himself that it was just his imagination, but he couldn't shake the feeling, And that's when he noticed something strange. The house stood empty and abandoned once again, and the mystery of the missing owner and the ghostly woman remained unsolved. Every time he turned the lights on, a shadow would appear outside the window. It was dark and blurry, but he could have sworn that he saw a pair of eyes staring back at him. Not only that, but the whole listing was gone. It seemed to be following him from room to room. Suddenly, Sam couldn't take it anymore. He was scared, but he knew that he had to go back. He owed it to himself to find out what was going on. But as he neared the house, he heard a noise inside. Someone was inside the house. Slowly, he approached the window and peered inside. What he saw shocked him. Standing in the middle of the floor was a woman. She had long, flowing hair and was wearing a white dress. She seemed to be waiting for him. Then she turned and smiled. It was the same smile from the picture in the listing. But how could this be? Had the woman been in the house the whole time? Was she the owner? Or was something else going on? He ran out of the house and into the forest. He slammed the door and locked it, then floored it and sped away. As he drove, he thought about what he had seen. Was he losing his mind? Was there a ghost in the house? Or was there another explanation? Determined to get answers, he turned the car around and headed back to the house. This time, though, he wasn't alone. He had brought a friend with him. He ran and ran, but the shadow kept appearing in front of him. No matter how fast he went, he couldn't outrun it. And just as he began to lose hope, he tripped and fell to the ground. Bruised and exhausted, he looked up and saw the shadow standing over him. He screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the trees. The shadow loomed closer and closer until suddenly it disappeared. Sam felt a chill down his spine. Why would the owner delete the listing? Was he trying to scam people? Was that why he never replied to his messages? Or was there another explanation? The owner apologized and told him that he would refund his money. When he arrived, he noticed a keyhole, so he brought a key with him and tried it. To his surprise, it opened. As he stepped inside, he noticed that the place looked different. The walls were bare and the furniture was all covered in dust sheets. Something was definitely off about this place. Was this house even real? If it was, why was it empty? And if it wasn't, then what was this place? Sam was frustrated, but he understood. Maybe the owner had double booked him, or maybe someone else had rented the house for that day. In the end, he sat down on one of the sofas and decided to wait. He wanted to see if the owner would show up or if someone else knew what was going on. Hours went by and the sun began to set, but still no one came. Feeling scared and desperate for answers, Sam called the police. They took down his details and promised to send someone over. But when they arrived, they said that there was nothing they could do. There was no record of the house or the owner, and it was in any danger zone or anything like that. They suggested that Sam might be mistaken and that perhaps he had the wrong address, but Sam knew that he didn't. He even showed the officers the booking confirmation email, but they still couldn't do anything. In the end, they told him to just forget about it and let him alone. Whatever the reason, Sam was getting his money back. So he left it alone. According to Google Maps, it was an abandoned area full of forest and dirt roads. And third, he couldn't find the house on any satellite view, which was weird because you could see almost everything on those. By the time Friday rolled around, Sam was sure something was wrong. He almost canceled the reservation, but he decided to go through with it anyway. He packed a bag and hopped in the car and started driving. That's when he stumbled across a listing for a weekend home in the middle of nowhere. It looked nice, and according to the photos, it was just what Sam was looking for. The house was old and made of wood. It had a porch and a grill and a huge yard, and the interior was cozy. The walls were decorated with paintings of animals and plants, and the furniture looked comfortable. It even had good reviews from other renters. So, without wasting any more time, Sam booked it. One such website wasn't too popular, but still had enough listings to keep the website afloat. And one of those listings happened to catch a guy's eye. We'll call him Sam. At the end of the road was a sign that said, "Private Road. Keep out." But Sam ignored it and kept driving until he found a clearing with a small wooden house. Teat. It was the same house from the pictures. It looked a bit older, like the paint was chipping off the walls, but other than that, it looked exactly the same. Just then, a truck came barreling down the road and stopped right next to him. Two men got out and stared at him. They had mean looks on their faces, and they seemed surprised to see him. Before Sam could say anything, though, they jumped back in the truck and sped away. Sam took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. Maybe he was overreacting. Perhaps the house was just really secluded. So he got out of his car and walked up to the house. He knocked on the door, but nobody answered. He tried the doorknob, but it was locked. All he could do now was wait for the owner to arrive and let him in. But he waited and waited, and soon it became obvious. Nobody was coming. Eventually, Sam gave up and drove home. He didn't want to spend another minute there. He decided to get a hotel instead. Sam was looking for a weekend getaway from his busy life. But as the days went by, he couldn't help but feel a little uneasy about the booking. When he arrived at the address, he found a dirt road going into the forest. But when he woke up the next morning, he got a message from the owner asking why he hadn't shown up. However, a week later, he noticed that he still hadn't gotten a refund. Determined to get answers, Sam decided to return to the house and see what he could find. He searched everywhere, but he couldn't find anyone. Sam was furious. How could they just ignore him? What if he was in danger? But unfortunately, they left, and he was all alone. He tried to ignore it, but the shadow kept coming back. Trembling, Sam slowly got to his feet and stumbled back to the house. Terrified, Sam ran away and didn't stop until he reached the safety of his car. When they arrived, they both got out and cautiously approached the door. Sam knocked, but there was no reply. Hours turned into days, but there was still no sign of the owner. Eventually, they gave up and left.